This is Left Side of the Brain. This is part 2. Things don't get better. What I was about to say is, let me give you all an example. Well, this is part 2, but I can make this into another subject. What I'm going to say is this. I'm going to give you an example. For instance, don't you know that wearing clothes was made for the weak-minded people? Wearing clothes. Wearing clothes is a sign of weakness. Wearing clothes is for people who lack confidence and self-restraint. Being naked is a sign of freedom. So notice that's why when you go back in time and you study humanity during the times of pre-modern history, they was walking around with no clothes on because they was more in tune with nature. They were free and they was confident within their bodies. So that's why I say wearing clothes is a sign of not having confidence. It's also a sign of moral decline, and it's a sign of not having restraint. And I can back that up. You see, if a person had self-control of their sexual feelings, if you saw a naked person, you wouldn't get all you wouldn't lose your mind. You see, we was taught from babies to not embrace being naked. We was taught that it was something shameful. So really wearing clothes is covering up a weakness and embarrassment that one has inside of their self. So basically, wearing clothes is a permanent band-aid around a problem that a person has, a societal problem that society never allowed us to cure. The mental illness of wearing clothes. It's a suppressed fear that people have, being naked in front of other people. And it kind of mirrors the way people don't like to be themselves. You see, the wearing clothes thing, it's all a part of the great falling away. You see, it covers up the true person. So whenever you see somebody with clothes on, that in itself is a subliminal message that they instilled in humans millions of years ago. It's a subliminal message. Clothes reminds you of a time of innocence that was taken away from people. Go read the story of Adam and Eve. That's what clothing represents. It represents a time of innocence that was taken away from you. And it's really a form of child abuse. I'm going to tell you why. Children didn't mind being naked. Putting clothes on a child, and your parents, they didn't know they was doing it. They was naive. They was naive to the fact. So putting clothes on your child is taking something away from them. The innocence and the purity that was once a part of their mind, a part of the mind of their ancestors. You get it? When you put clothes on them, you automatically pass the programming of self-shame to them without their authority. You get what I'm saying? It's like we don't even think about this type of stuff because it's subliminal. So when you put clothes on a baby, it's basically a ritual that you just perform without even knowing it. This is how they get us. They get us doing so many things and we don't even know why we're doing it, but it's a ritual that we are doing. So the reason when you have clothes on, I don't care how fancy you dress, that's a prison uniform. Even if it's not the same outfit that the next person has on, regardless, it is a prison uniform. The purpose of clothing, it represents the same idea. It represents the same thing. The time when innocence was taken away from people, and the time that we live in when people don't take it back. That's what it represents. So basically what I'm saying is societal norms is for the weak-minded, and they are put in place to shut down the free-minded. You get what I'm saying? Societal norms are put in place for the weak-minded and to shut down the free-minded. Because I'm a free-minded person and the societal norm is to wear clothing, guess what? If I went about naked, I would be shut down by the weak-minded who fell for the societal norm of wearing clothes. They made innocence a crime. If you are naked, they will say indecent exposure. And they will lock you up. And they will imprison you for public nudity. But it has to be something it's not a natural crime. It's not a natural law. It's something that's subjective. Because like I said, in certain societies, before the organic portalism set in, nobody was shamed to be naked. Everybody had restraint. The body was sacred. It wasn't looked at as something taboo. Sex was not looked at as something taboo. And they wasn't catching venereal diseases. Pedophilia wasn't taking place. All of this stuff came from people that were corrupted. That's why evil communications corrupt good manners. That's why when you send your children to these public institutions, they get brainwashed. That's why when you sit your kids in front of the TV, we used to call it the idiot box. That's what the older people, that's what they used to say. The idiot box. When you sit your children in front of the television, it programs them. So that's what happened when people with the mental disease came and encroached upon the innocent, naive people. Why do they say naive? The word naive, the origin of that word, it goes back to Eve in the Garden of Eden when she was innocent. So that's where you get the word naive from. And she was deceived by the serpent, rather used by the serpent, because she chose to listen. You see, this is another thing. The mind of a female is more susceptible to evil suggestions. And I can give you a parable for that. See, I can back up everything I'm saying. The reason why that is, when you look in society, females are more social by nature. They, like for instance, you notice women change their hairstyles like every week. Men don't do that. A man, he'll wear the same haircut for 50 years. I wear the same. Y'all seen my hairstyle before. I wear my hair like braided to the back. I got locks. I wear my hair the same pretty much every time. But a woman, she's constantly changing. She's constantly changing her mind. She is susceptible by nature to suggestions. You know, when women set the standard for fashion and what is considered, you know, pop and popular in this world. See, just like in high school, if they deem you as lame, you know how they say lame, he a square, you can forget getting any pussy. Because the female has already stamped you as a loser. Collectively, when they do that, you're not popular because the female has already stamped you a loser. Now, so I'm saying that Eve, she chose to go along with the devil's plan. And this is why I say that in the organic portal realm, females are used more lethally, in a more lethal way than men. Because one thing about females, they are accepted by society, by nature. Yeah, we got women subscribers. Shout out to the women subscribers. But any real woman, and this is the thing that I noticed. When you start talking about, see, men, I never get a male upset when I say something about the men. And the men listening, they can attest to what I'm about to say. Whenever you say something about female nature, they always come to defend against it. No, every woman is not like that. This is not, they can never just accept something and wear the responsibility for it. They always got to come with some type of reason why. No, that's just how they are. And they can't help it. Because they have that conditioning in them. They program like that. They are weaker and more susceptible to evil suggestions. They change their mind all the time. They change their makeup. They got to put on makeup. They got to put on eyelashes. They got to put on lipstick. They got to have these big wardrobes. 1,000,000 pairs of shoes. All of these decorations. You ever been on these Instagram accounts of a woman and they have like all of these, say of a woman, she likes conscious information. You gotta don't be so quick to think she's good, because women are very faddish. If it's a fad, they'll have pictures of onks all on their Instagram page. When you look at my left side of the brain Instagram, you don't see me putting a whole bunch of pictures of chakras and people in meditation positions and pictures of the woman of the universe and all that. You don't see me posting millions and millions. See, all of that stuff is just makeup. Always putting quotes from somebody else instead of an original quote. You see what I'm saying? So you can't just fall victim to form and fashion. That's why I don't do this. That's why I don't do that on my channel. That's why I try to use my own terminology. Because it's too many, fake people and fake people in costumes. That's why I don't show my face. Because it's not about me. It's about the message. I can show my face all day, but if I'm saying some bullshit, what does it matter? This channel, and I know I'm kind of diverting now, but I'm feeling that righteous anger. This channel is for the real people, not no fakes who can't take it. If you a woman and can't take it, then, you know, don't listen. But if you real, you wouldn't have a problem. So I had to say that. And getting back, these societal norms, they designed to keep us on this spiraling downward moral decline. A lot of people would say, yeah, but that was then, but I wouldn't suggest you go around naked today. And you know what? I couldn't disagree with you, because there's so many sick people now, because they allowed it to get to this point. So many sick people out here. But that's the design of the whole entire institution. I don't call this a society. I call this an institution. This is a mental institution, and not a mental institution to heal you. This world is like you know how you go into the hospital, and you can't even use that example but just to say it, if the hospitals were even right. You know how you go into the hospital and the purpose of the hospital is to heal you, but really you go into the hospital. Y'all get what I'm saying. But you go into the hospital to come out better than when you went in. So this world is a mental institution, not to make you better, but to make your mental sick, to make you mentally sick. This world is not here to heal people. Think about it. If you just put people in this world and this world didn't have no left side of the brains, what would happen to people? They would just be slaves and mentally sick. That's it. But thank be to God, there is some leftover DNA still floating around, and y'all take this for granted. Don't take this type of information for granted. I'm trying to tell y'all, do not, because this, you see, they just had that YouTube blackout, and someone else who followed the instructions. Now I'm about to touch on what you said on my Instagram. She said, what would we do how would we meet and gather as a Jaguar family if the social media went down? And she brought up an interesting point. They just had this YouTube blackout. So my point was, what would you do if it wasn't no left side of the brains? Now think about it. They just had this YouTube blackout. So to answer that female's question, you have to not take this for granted. And that's what I'm saying. Every video I put out, don't take it for granted. You better hide this stuff in your heart. Don't forget the terminologies that we speak about. One thing about this channel, everything is solid. That's why when I be speaking, you might hear me say something and it's familiar to you. That means it has went into your subconscious. It has absorbed inside of your mentality. And when you see it out in public, you can go, left side of the brain was talking about that. Yeah, we got a terminology for that. We know what this is. That person in human prison bar. We know what this is. You see? So to answer that female's question, you got to hide it in your heart, and you got to take every video seriously. Because I know some of the things I say on this channel, it's not being said nowhere else. Because we don't know. And y'all want to talk about suicide? People be bringing that up to me sometimes. Because we talk about nihilism. You know, we get in on this channel. Every night you go to sleep, you basically committing suicide. Think about it. When you go to sleep at night, you don't know if you're going to wake up. Think about it. You lay your body down. You go into a deep, deep rest. Your heartbeat slows down. Just one heartbeat slow enough from not dying. That's how slow your heartbeat gets when you go to sleep at night. You one heartbeat from death. One heartbeat slower, you would die. So every night, so when you wake up, it's not even guaranteed you're going to wake up. So what I'm saying is, this thing is precious, man. And it can be taken away like that. So that's why it's not even guaranteed that I will do another video. Life is not promised. You see what I'm saying? Life is not promised. And guess what? We didn't ask to be here. None of us asked to be here. I didn't. You didn't. We just know we ended up here. We just know we got sense. We can tell when someone don't have sense. We didn't ask to be alive. We didn't know about life until it was shown to us. Like I said, when a child is born, it's not born saying, I want to live, I want to live. It's born saying, Mommy, I'm hungry, so feed me. But it don't know how to talk yet. It just know how to cry. Emotions. So a child doesn't know anything about growing up and becoming something. We learn all of this. We learn all of this over time. I want to be this. I want to be this. I want to get married. I want to have kids. Having kids is not a natural thing. It's not a natural desire inside of a person. It's something that's instilled inside of you. You have the means to do it, but you got the means to flip. Does that mean you do a backward flip? Does that mean you learn how to do a backward flip? No. So we had to learn all of this stuff over time. We had to learn to want to have kids. We had to learn to want to get married. We had to learn to want to live. So that's what I'm telling y'all. Like, don't think none of this stuff is guaranteed or it's a must. You don't have to live if you don't want to. Nobody forcing you to be here. Nobody forcing us to be here. Nobody is forcing us to be in this prison. People are in this prison because, like I said, if we were not righteous, some of us by nature, and if some of them were not righteous, were not evil by nature, then there would be no need for the vices of trickery to get us off track in this world in the first place. The very fact that we have subliminal messages on TV and programming in the school system, the very fact that we have these things lets you know that some of us are good and some of us are bad. Because if that wasn't the case, if we was all good, then there wouldn't be no vices of deception and trickery. And I wouldn't have to make these videos. You see what I'm saying? So everything that happens around us, it speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? That's why I like to back up everything with a parable. Parable, a pair, meaning support. My words, I back it up with a support. I show you an example in nature. See? So nobody is forcing us to be a prisoner. Nobody forcing us. It's just that we are so dumbed down. Nobody forcing us to live. Even the evil people. They make you think that life is the greatest thing. Because this is all you know. All you know is living inside of a body. So if that's all you know, then that's what you think is the greatest thing. You get what I'm saying? If you give somebody grape Kool-Aid and they think that's the only Kool-Aid that exists, then they think, hey, this must be the greatest drink in the world. Grape Kool-Aid. And that's how they make people fear. The greatest fear is what? Dying. Because they make you think that this is everything. And you say, this is the greatest thing, just living. And because of that, you will live and take any type of junk from this world and people. See what I'm saying? You got to know that sometimes laying down your life is the greatest thing. I know that was too deep for too many of y'all. I know that was deep, too real. Some of y'all won't get that. He's left side going crazy now. I ain't gonna give my life up for the right thing. I wouldn't lay my life down. I'd rather be a human prison bar. Gotta know, man, accepting the truth is the greatest thing that you can do in this life. Because you can live a lie. And my point is, you can live a lie, die in that lie, and perish for all eternity. I do believe in a hellfire. Y'all didn't know I knew that. Y'all didn't know I believed that, did you? I do believe that if you go against truth, when you know it, and you plan and you go do something else, I do believe that your life will go downhill. And I do believe that there is a greater reward for those who sacrifice. And the greatest sacrifice is this, what I'm about to say. Living for yourself and not for others. And I'm gonna end it right here. This is fall semester. I hope this video started out with a big bang for all of you subscribers. Let me know when I should do that live stream for next week. Just remember, it has to be a time after 5 p.m. Eastern Standard. Think about the people on the West Coast. So we gotta have a time that, would be conducive for everybody on the East Coast and the West Coast. Subscribe to the channel. This is the greatest channel on earth. This is Left Side of the Brain. And I am signing out. Jaguars out. Peace.